Alrighty, the last day of the month. Good old All Hallows Eve, Samhain, the holiday of the spooks and specters and ghouls and goblins. So today is day number 31, which is obviously Halloween, and the prompt was crawl, which to be honest I kind of just ignored, and because what I wanted to do is a a legend or kind of a thing that is very prominent in our culture today, and it's the Great Pumpkin, famous, made by the old Charlie Brown show. But in our family, which and in the same for Charlie Brown, the Great Pumpkin is very much kind of the Santa Claus of Halloween. So kind of an interesting character. But as you can see here, I kind of started doing out some variations of the character and stuff like that, but wasn't falling in love with it, and so I kind of decided that I'd do more of a him getting summoned from whatever pumpkin patch holds the best pumpkin to facilitate the spirit of Halloween for that year. So kind of went from him as a full-bodied figure to more of a him and the vines of the pumpkin taking form and all of that stuff. So I've got him here, kind of beset a full moon, which this year was a full blue moon, which was really cool. Two full moons in the month of October, not something I heard somebody say it, or I read somebody that this does not happen often, like every 50 or 60 or maybe even 100 years, I don't remember, but it's a very rare opportunity. So I decided to kind of put him behind a creepy moon. I don't think I actually put it in the final thing, but in the initial sketches I had him in there, and I think it was just creating too many tangents, so I decided against it. But yeah, and then he got him kind of forming out, and the main pumpkin takes shape with the jack-o'-lantern, and then obviously the burning soul of Halloween within the pumpkin itself as he takes form, and other pumpkins around him and all that stuff. So it was a fun one to do for Halloween on Halloween Day. So I apologize if I won't be able to post it on Halloween. I've got some other activities that I'll be participating in that'll keep me from posting this video on Halloween, but I'll try to get it out as soon as possible. So, but yeah, here it looks like I'm actually doing out the pumpkins. I was initially having some struggles with like the saturation and colors with because I had both the orange and the green very vibrant and saturated, and even the ground was kind of a more saturated. And so towards the end here, I did a lot of stuff that because I wasn't my the focal point wasn't going to the pumpkin where I really wanted it to go, and so obviously I had kind of a highlight there to look at his eye, and then I went in and adjusted a lot of stuff, and it's kind of hard to see here, but I'm manipulating the saturation and brightness of the pumpkin to really help it pop more. And I went in and I dropped the saturation of the vibrant greens in his vines and stuff like that. So, but once again, that kind of wraps it up here. I'm going to try something different that I did in my prior video where it is a very zoomed in and it kind of slowly pans up, giving you a better view of the illustration itself. So, but let's get into it. The last day of the Inktober Doodle Off. So, as I stated before, this hero entity is the Great Pumpkin, and I had mentioned him in my prior video for the Autumn King. So, be sure you go and check him out as well. So, backstory. Old legends speak of two beings coming into existence as a result of the war against the dreaded Dream Eater. Due to his devastation that plagued the world and went across the entire world, new entities were born in an effort to bring joy and hope back into the world. And it was the Great Pumpkin and Santa Claus. More were to follow, but those were the main two. One of these was the Great Pumpkin. Legends say that a burning fire found a root in a pumpkin and took form to aid against the great evil. After this evil was vanquished, he took on the mantle of spreading hope and joy to the deprived souls of the world. The Great Pumpkin works kind of in conjunction with the Autumn King to aid nature and most of all mankind into the harsh season of winter. So obviously he's the physical embodiment or the the spirit of Halloween itself. Kind of, he is the closing door of fall as we open the new door into winter. So he's very much the one that goes around and kind of, in essence, distributes that which the Autumn King has collected and just kind of gives gifts and joy and hope to those, because fall was very much the time that it's the preparatory time as we get close into winter, which everything kind of dies and starts over. It's very much the purification process of the world and nature. But for those that rely on food and all that kind of stuff, the fall and autumn and the harvest is very much essential. And so the Great Pumpkin is kind of the deity of the harvest as everything closes and gets ready for winter. And so he spreads food and candy and toys and all that kind of stuff to children. And he does it via touching the seeds of the believing children that lay out their pumpkin seeds, and he touches it and it manifests itself into their wishes and desires. So with that, we'll just kind of segue into his powers and abilities. So like most of the seasonal beings, not much is known about the great power the Great Pumpkin harnesses. But due to some vague text written about the epic war, we can hypothesize that he was a being of great power, very similar to like a genie. It is said that joy and hope is still spread among mankind during the 31st of October, and that the Great Pumpkin comes into the homes of the believing and leaves gifts of toys and candy to those children who have left out their pumpkin seeds for the Great Pumpkin. And when he touches them, it grants them their desires and wishes. But once again, we're going to bring the Inktober to a close. I'm probably going to be still doing some videos and stuff here and there, but it won't be like a daily thing. It'll be off and on. I'm kind of teaching myself some new things, how to make molds and action figures and video games and some things like that. So I'll still do some illustrations and stuff. And I years ago I did another kind of doodle challenge for myself, and I created a bunch of other superheroes. So I'm going to potentially kind of revitalize that and redraw them and maybe do videos on those. But I want to thank you for joining me. Today was the 31st, the last day of October, the good old All Hallows Eve. The character was the Great Pumpkin, and the prompt was crawl. So once again, I appreciate you joining me for this, and stay tuned for my up and coming videos. Thanks again.